When will you people realize that nothing matters? When will you people realize that everything is not what you think it is? Rich kids watch their parents buy stocks. Poor kids watch their parents buy lottery tickets. Speaking of the lottery, let's talk about the lottery. $1.6 billion. $1.6 billion jackpot. Let's talk about the lottery. The fact that they can give away over $1 billion to some guy, but there's still people starving in the streets. Still people that don't have clean water. You know, let's talk about the lottery. Basically a tax on the poor, tax on the stupid. That's why they call it the idiot tax. You know, that's where they make most of their money from. Poor neighborhoods. All it is a pipe dream. That's all it is. All it is taking somebody in a disenfranchised, impoverished condition, taking that and exploiting it by selling them this illusion of hope. Like, man, if I just buy this $2 lottery ticket, man, all my problems gonna be solved. You know, I can live a great life. You know, if I just hit, man, I just need to hit, man. Just to get these numbers, man. Just gotta match these numbers, man. I just gotta hit these numbers, man, and I can win billions. Even though the odds are, you know, mathematically, you're probably not gonna win, you know. But that's all it is. It's just exploiting. It's exploitation. That's really, like, that in and of itself should show you that they don't care about you. You know, the fact that they don't give a damn about clean drinking water. Who cares? People sleeping and starving in the streets. None of my business. But hey, how about let's take these poor people who don't even have the basic necessities of survival, and let's take their mentality. Let's take how they think. Let's exploit that. Let's exploit their lack of necessities to make money. Because either way, they're getting paid off the lottery tickets. Institutionalized poverty. But let's look at the flip side of the lottery. All right, let's just acknowledge the fact that, all right, somebody wins the lottery. Right? So for all you people saying, oh, the value of $1, you know, the value of hard work and all of this nonsense. So you're telling me some guy can buy a $2 lottery ticket, a $2 slip of paper, and then win $1 billion, win hundreds of millions of dollars with no effort but to walk into a store, slap a couple of slips of paper on the counter to get their slip of paper, which is a lottery ticket, and then they're just set for life, right? While some other guy can work hard, break their back, get nothing, get scraps. I mean, they basically telling you, yeah, all of this is just bullshit. We're just fucking around with y'all lives, you know. See, that's the thing. Like, y'all don't understand that, like, you're like, to the people in charge of capitalism, you do realize that your life is a game to them. Blatantly, like, your life is a game to them. You're a commodity. You're a commodity. They only care about you when you generate revenue for them. Let's take Michigan. Let's take Detroit, for example. Flint, Michigan. The water crisis. No clean water. No one cares. Know why? Because it's a dead state. They relied on the booming automobile industry. At the time, it was bringing them in money, man. You know? They were meeting that bottom line, generating all kinds of profits. But when that stopped, when that slowed down, when that came to a halt, they said, to hell with Michigan, to hell with Detroit, to hell with Flint. You know? Now, you know, it's just like a food desert. They don't have clean water. You can buy a house for $1 because all the houses are just piles of rotting wood. You know, rampant poverty, because they don't care about you. And it's not that they suddenly don't care about you. They never cared about you. Like I said, man, it's not because of the benevolence of these companies that we expect these services and goods. It's because of their regard for their own interests, their regard for that bottom line they're trying to meet, man. It's always been profits over people. It's not a new thing. So, it's funny when I hear people talking about, oh, you're just gaming the system, you're just cheating the system. You know what? If the system is able to be gamed, if it's able to be cheated, it's able to be tricked, played, then that's a flaw in the system, not of the people who are forced to play in the system. You know, that's interesting to me. Gaming the system, playing the system. No shit. You're born. First of all, you're born. No one asked to be born, first of all. Then you're forced to work. You're forced to do some shit you don't even want to do just to survive and pay to live on to live an existence that you never asked for. But in these establishment dick riders complain about somebody just trying to get by, just trying to survive by any means necessary in a society that doesn't care about them. Interesting. I find it funny how a lot of the things that we do on a daily basis that we don't really think about, I find it interesting how they're actually structured contrary to popular belief. You know, like, just make this statement, you know, criminal, the difference between criminal and civil, like a criminal case and a civil case. See, criminal, that has, contrary to popular belief, criminal doesn't have anything to do with morality, right? Criminal means it's against whatever the government's agenda is. It's against their interest. You know. Civil means it's between you pawns, you two idiots, so you kind of fight it out, you know. You go ahead and fight about it. I don't really give a shit. You two pawns, you two idiots, you two cogs in the system. You go ahead and duke it out. We don't really care because, you know, we're gonna make it look like, oh man, what's the problem? What's the problem? We care so much about your personal problems, but we don't. That's why we're gonna separate the whole entire structure and classification that we put your problems and our problems. That's why we're gonna take your problems and our problems and put them in two different classifications. You know, just so we know. Hey, I have a problem. What is it? Oh, you know, my neighbor. Oh, okay, we don't give a shit. Put that in the civil. That's civil. You know, we don't give a fuck. You know, but let it have something to do with taxes or something. Well, they're on that ass. They're on that ass, man. They're on that ass. But, you know, I think about it, about the foundation of things that we do every day and how they're structured. Interesting. For example, the residential industry, or the, you know, how people buy houses and things of that nature. It's really, it's interesting because you have basically, it's basically the norm that, yeah, houses are so damn expensive that most people will have to basically just beg a stranger to borrow their house in exchange for money, aka rent. And it's funny because like that's the norm, that's the common thing, because the system is fucked. The system is fucked up. But it's interesting how like the rules of the system, instead of changing and being revamped, the system just, it basically says, well, it's fucked up, but we're gonna make the people react a certain way to the system. We're gonna make the people serve the system instead of the system serve the people. You know, we're gonna uphold the mysticism and the power of bureaucracy, because capitalism, because status quo. So basically with that whole residential thing, basically what you're telling me is that you're not guaranteed a home, which is why they have so many homeless people. Because something as basic as shelter in the world's richest country that ever exists, in the supposed self-proclaimed best country in the world, is not even guaranteed. And yeah, that you know, that's it. Not like shelter, basic necessities are not even, they're not even guaranteed, you know. The richest civilization ever. You know, you're not guaranteed a house, you're not guaranteed food, you're not guaranteed a job. You're not guaranteed any of that thing, any of those things. The fact that, you know, people look at homeless people and they say, go get a job, you bum. But the fact that the job is privately owned and they can just, you can try to kiss their ass as much as you want, walk in there and, you know, they could just turn you down for literally no reason. I don't want your ugly ass in my establishment. Get the fuck out. That's a valid reason for them to not hire you. They don't have to hire you. You know, like, they can blatantly be discriminate against you. They can blatantly discriminate. They can blatantly be a bigot towards you. Bigotry, discrimination, racism, prejudice. They can blatantly do that for no reason. Just, because I can. Because they can. That's like funny to me. I love when societal expectations, societal norms, civil disputes, and social constructs just fall down and when being held to scrutiny. That's interesting. Quite interesting. The fact that instead of the government, which, I mean, what's the point of a government if everyone's just fucking starving and homeless? I mean, I thought that was the point of the government, to ensure the well-being of its citizens. But the well-being of the citizens is maintained by the efforts of some kind people, of some nice people, you know, just a handful of people with good hearts, compassionate people that just choose to help the less fortunate instead of the government, you know. Those people don't have to do that. But I was under the impression that was the government's job, but obviously they don't give a fuck. But, you know, of course not. Of course not. Absolute power corrupts, absolutely. We've basically given them 100% of the power. If they're gonna do whatever the hell they want to do, they're just gonna blatantly do whatever the hell they want to do. And who's gonna stop them? They have all the brute force. They have all the power. They have all the firepower, the guns, the weapons, the nukes, the bombs, the missiles. What are you gonna do? Nothing. What, are you gonna petition? You're gonna petition? You're gonna march? You know, what are you gonna do? You're gonna play by the rules of a corrupted system to oppose the corrupted system. What kind of sense does that make? You know? So if none of these necessities are guaranteed by the government, and you're denied them for any reason, for any arbitrary reason, so what are you supposed to do if you're denied all of these things, right? Or are you just supposed to sit there and starve to death? You know, but if somebody takes the only opportunity that they seem to have, that's a crime. That's considered a crime, right? That's considered a crime. You're considered scum. You're considered trash, right? That's stupid. The fact that people, they try to make rules in life and death situations. Like they try to make rules in war, the Geneva Conventions. What kind of stupid shit is that? You're bombing and killing people. There's no rules to that. There's no fucking rules to that. I'm killing people. That's what you're doing. You're killing people. You make a rule. Well, you can't kill them like this. Shut up. Shut the fuck up, man. just shut the fuck up, man. Like when I look at the world and I look at the, these social constructs that people seem to follow and take as sacred, and I hear these stiff-minded idiots, these stiffs, NPCs, talk all of this bullshit and this nonsense about how what you should do, what you ought to do, you ought to do this. I find it hard to take anything that you say serious, when the fact that you say that we're all born equal, when we're blatantly judged off of things that are out of our control, when the experience of your life is determined in this country before you're even born, based off your demographics. If you were born in a rich family or a poor family, you're judged off of who you're related to. You're judged off of how you look. You're judged off of how much money you have. You're judged off of superficial things. See, I'm not even complaining about the fact. See, what I'm doing is simply mentioning and highlighting the hypocrisy of society. That's basically what I'm doing. I'm just the guy that's gonna say it. I'm not gonna pretend that it just doesn't exist. I'm gonna say it. It exists. Hypocrisy, inconsistencies. The fact that you say you give billions of dollars to the military to push the military industrial complex to bomb people and steal resources and all this other stuff, but you somehow don't have enough money, which is a made-up construct, made-up concept. You can print more money. Just some dumbass pieces of paper, worthless piece of paper with no intrinsic value. But the fact that you can't feed the poor, give them houses, shelter, necessities, but you still claim that you're the best country in the world. You claim you're the richest country in the world. Where? Where? The same people talking about we care about the troops. You take a bunch of people, you mislead them. Get them to fight for your regime. You raise them up. Teach them fanatical nationalism. Globalism. Jingoism. So now they're growing up thinking the arbitrary plot of land that I've been born on can do no wrong. And you say we support the troops and all of this bullshit. They come home. Who you see on the side of the road? Troops. Who's shooting up heroin? The troops. Because you gave them no other options. You said you had it back and you betrayed them. You used them. The fact that people still defend these corporation owners. They defend them for outsourcing jobs. They never gave a fuck about you having a job to begin with. The fact that you want a job, that's just a response to shit circumstances. The fact that you're begging to trade your life away, time, your actual most valuable asset, time, that you can't get back to slave for some corporation that doesn't give a fuck about you. Like, just that's the overarching theme and tone of all of this. Let's dig in deeper. The fact that you're defending them instead of blaming them for choosing a bottom line, when really you should blame, instead of blaming some other poor guy that's in your same circumstances, you're in the same boat as you, blame the system. Blame the people that make the system, blame the people that perpetuate the system. The fact that you got your citizens running around claiming that they live in the land of the free, home of the brave, it's a free country, with only country with freedom, democracy. It's a meritocracy. It's not a meritocracy. There's no freedom. I don't see no brave people around here. How can you be free? How can you be the land of the free when your country's population is only 5% of the world's population, but you have over 25% of the world's prisoners? But people think that's just haphazard. People, that's the thing that irritates me. People think all of this stuff is haphazard. They think that's just the way it just happens to happen. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. So why do we put people in prison? Why do we put people in prison? So, do we put people in prison as a punishment? Do we put them in prison for the safety of society? Or do we put them in prison for profits? Hint, it's the third one. We put them in for profits. How the fuck could you make the prison system for profit? So the justice system is corrupt. The government's corrupt. The politicians corrupt. The prison system corrupt. Penal system corrupt. All that shit. So locking people in cage, there's an incentive to lock people in cage because we're in capitalism and they make money from prisoners. So there's an incentive to lock people in a cage, whether they did a crime or not, whether the crime that they did is actually in an opposition to well-being, you know. So I don't know. But this is not a meritocracy. It doesn't matter how hard you work. Stop saying that shit. I work hard. No one gives a fuck. Because the thing about it is, no one cares. No one cares how hard you work. No one cares how hard you try. They care about results. They don't care. They don't care about none of it. They don't care about the thought process, the implications that went into your decision and went to the outcome. They don't care about any of that. They don't care. They care about the results. You see, let's go back to the residential thing. Your landlord, the landlord doesn't give a damn whether you have shelter or not. Do you have that rent at the end of the month? Do you have that rent? If not, then get your ass out. Because that's what it's about. Money. It's about money. Just nice, just letting you. No, money. They don't give a fuck whether you have a damn house or not. Whether you got some place to stay. Are you giving me money? Capitalism. So that's why in capitalism, see, people, let's go back to they're trying to put rules on war. See, all is fair in love and war. You can't make rules to killing somebody. You're killing somebody. If capitalism, the structure of capitalism inherently makes it to where psychopaths are the people that are more likely to be at the top. If it rewards immorality, and that's the system that we're gonna play no matter what, then if somebody acts immoral to make money that's not the government, then that's what it is, because the system calls for it. If you're gonna make more money robbing a bank than you will working at some bogus ass job at some corrupt ass company for 40 years, then you're incentivized to rob the bank. You're incentivized to rob a bank. You're incentivized to sell drugs. You're incentivized to do any other crime, because it pays more to do it. Because we're playing by capitalism. Don't try to add morals. Don't try to, well, you can't do it like that. No. You said we're playing capitalism. Well, let's play capitalism, motherfucker. Bunch of bullshit, man. The fact that people buying into the concept of survival of the fittest, like we're living in survival of the fittest, when that's obviously not the case. It's obviously not the case. Except if it was like that, and why are you adding these rules to it? See, that's what I'm saying. You're adding these rules to it. There's no rules in the wild. In the wild, a damn alligator could bite the fuck out of a deer. Or, a damn lion can eat the fuck out of a zebra or antelope. Bite his head off. Blood and guts gushing out. There's no rules in the wild, but you people still insist on making that comparison like we're in the wild. This is civilization. This is an artificial construct. You're domesticated. Right? But you're acting as if, oh, we're survival of the fittest. But when somebody actually takes that mindset to its logical conclusion, you got a problem with it. You want to add these little rules to it. There's no fucking rules then if it's survival of the fittest. There's no rules. Oh, because it's not. Because we live in society, we live in civilization, and there's a social contract that the citizens give up some individual liberties with the thought that the government maintains and ensures the well-being of all its citizens. But that social contract's obviously exploited and bullshit. But if you want to play, if you insist on capitalism, if you insist on perpetuating and maintaining capitalism, don't start crying when the flaws of capitalism, when your little veneer of man, it's just survival of the fittest, man. This concept of shit, I'm good, I don't give a fuck about them, man. They starving, I don't care about them, man. Shit, survival of the fittest. But when somebody takes their mindset and uses it to the extreme, you have a problem with it. No. If we're gonna play capitalism, let's play capitalism, motherfucker. The fact that millions and billions of monkeys gather in a coliseum to watch other monkeys throw blunt objects at each other is regarded as such a big deal. The fact that people just drink poison and move around stiffly in a dark room is what people like to do, what people aim to do on the weekends. The fact that most people just stare at a lit screen. You stare at a lit box, watching some nonsense. That's the thing. Don't come at me with that hard work. Don't come at me with that, uptight, sticking ass bullshit. Miss me with that bullshit. Miss me with that bullshit. Miss me with that, man. Miss me with all of that shit. Don't come at me with no, well, you have to do it like this. Well, you have to follow these rules. Miss me with all of that shit. You ought to do this. You need to do this. Fuck all of that. I don't need to do shit. I don't ought to do shit. See, nihilism, it's not an opinion. That's a conclusion. Atheism, that's a conclusion. All of this shit is meaningless. No one asked to be born. The universe doesn't have some intrinsic purpose, doesn't have an intrinsic meaning, purpose, value. Life is meaningless, pointless. No intrinsic value in any of this bullshit. It's all random, it's all chance. None of this shit matters. None of it. None of this shit matters. There's this proud to be a worker rhetoric, with this notion that you choose to be a worker. You choose this. You have this. You have the choice to do this. You have the freedom to do this. It's the illusion of choice. Basically, all it is the government and these corporations, they're exploiting your desperation. They're exploiting your desperation, basically giving you the illusion of choice to work for any of these shit jobs of your choice. So now you think that you're free. You think that you're free. Like, you think you're free because you can quit the job? But what you're gonna do when you quit the job? You're gonna get another one. It's the same shit. It's the same thing. There's no volition in that. You gotta you gotta work at a shit job just to eat food. That's not freedom. That's not freedom. But I think the scariest part about it is, it's not that the system itself is corrupt, but the fact that people don't realize that it's corrupt, or people that defend the system, because it's become normalized. All of these problems have become normalized, and once something's become normalized, it becomes ingrained in a culture. And once it becomes ingrained in a culture, once it becomes the culture, now people grow this emotional, irrational attachment to it, and they perpetuate it and teach it to their kids and to the next generations, and those generations teach it to their kids, and so on. That perpetuates the cycle, and so it becomes harder and harder to abolish the culture. You have people that have an emotional and an irrational attachment to the traditions and the culture, and now they think nothing's wrong with it. They think it's normal. And the best way to enslave somebody is to convince them that they're not enslaved.